In 2026, the global tech industry will gather here in Paris for VivaTech. It's exactly the kind of glittering stage where a nation goes to project power. But back home, the country making the biggest pitch is still grappling with the immediate, urgent needs of a developing democracy. Prime Minister Modi's agenda is explicit. He's presenting over 120 deep tech Indian startups to international investors, attempting to rewrite the country's economic identity on a global scale. For decades, international markets have viewed India through a very specific lens, a massive, hungry consumer base. The world built the hardware and wrote the code. India bought it or provided the back-end support. Now there is a hard push to become the creator. Look at the successful test of a long-range cruise missile on June 15th, a clear flex of growing strategic self-reliance. The commercial ambition matches the military one. Through aggressive initiatives, the country has expanded its startup ecosystem so rapidly that it now ranks among the top 3 in the entire world. But transitioning from a massive consumer to an original inventor is fiercely difficult. It requires pouring billions into research over a decade or more, waiting for breakthroughs that might never come. For a nation that urgently needs to create millions of jobs right now, that is a terrifying financial wager. To drive this transition, the government built a massive institutional machinery, led by think tanks like Niti Aayog and the Department of Science and Technology. These officials manage programs like the India AI Mission. Their goal is to divert attention away from building another food delivery app and channel it toward frontier sectors like artificial intelligence and clean energy. This chart shows the difference in development timelines between traditional software and deep tech. On the top, you see the cycle for a standard digital app, which might hit profitability in 1 or 2 years. On the bottom, you have deep tech, fields like quantum computing or semiconductor manufacturing. These require a grueling 10-plus-year desert of research and development before a single product goes to market. Because human nature craves a sure thing, investors and policymakers instinctively look for safe, quick returns. Capital piles up on the short-term software side, while the long-term deep tech lab is starved of the patient funding it desperately needs. That same aversion to risk distorts where the money goes geographically. The funding that does exist gets tightly concentrated in a few wealthy, established urban hubs, completely bypassing the broader national talent pool. The policy engine is officially designed to run a grueling, decade-long scientific marathon. The problem is, the people holding the checkbooks are only willing to fund a 100-meter sprint. To bridge this gap and encourage public-private partnerships, the government leans on a tool called regulatory sandboxes. Think of these as controlled environments where companies can test unproven, high-risk technologies without facing immediate penalties from standard laws. In theory, the sandbox absorbs the legal friction. It gives startups the breathing room they need to move past simply importing existing tech, allowing them to actually try building original creations from scratch. In practice, these initiatives frequently stall out. The moment a company tries to scale beyond the sandbox, they slam into stubborn, pre-existing regulatory hurdles that suffocate early-stage innovation all over again. And there is a deeper, much less glamorous crisis hiding behind the paperwork. A severe lack of advanced research skills. Producing raw code is one thing. Inventing new material sciences or quantum algorithms requires a completely different level of academic rigor. Clever policy documents and regulatory leeway fall flat if a country cannot produce and retain the foundational human talent required to run the labs. PR announcements at international tech summits look great on camera. The actual work of overhauling domestic research funding happens quietly, over years, far away from the global spotlight. This brings leaders back to a harsh reality. When your budget is strictly limited, do you scale up proven, labor-intensive manufacturing schemes to guarantee immediate jobs for your citizens today? Or do you gamble your resources on uncertain frontier science? The stakes of that choice are visible right now. In a fiercely competitive global market, a resource-constrained nation constantly hemorrhages its top scientific minds to wealthier countries that can afford to properly fund their research. True economic diplomacy in the 21st century relies on owning the foundational patents of tomorrow's infrastructure, rather than simply boasting a high volume of local startups. To secure that kind of power, India's leadership has to fight its own systemic risk aversion. They have to overcome the intense pressure for quick political and financial victories. Achieving true technological self-reliance means accepting a difficult truth. A nation has to have the courage to spend billions of dollars today, knowing the breakthroughs that justify the cost might not arrive until tomorrow.